History Log 2075, The Last Days of India, How a Great Nation Fell Apart. Written by Rakesh Krishnan Simha. The year is 2075. The once mighty nation of India has been reduced to a patchwork of warring independent states, a far cry from the vibrant, united country it once was. The dream of a strong, prosperous India has been shattered, replaced by a nightmarish reality of constant conflict and division. The seeds of India's fragmentation were sown as early as the 1920s, when Muslim extremists started to act in an organized manner to destroy the country with the active support of the British colonialists. The rapid growth of the Muslim population compared to Hindus and other non-Hindu minorities started to shift the demographic balance dramatically. Hindus, focused on economic advancement and education, remained largely oblivious to the looming demographic shifts that would later overwhelm them. Their historical amnesia regarding the 1,000-year legacy of subjugation rendered them blind to the emerging threat. Politicians of the time were embroiled in relentless power struggles, their primary objective being to enrich themselves rather than address the rising threats to national unity. While Mohandas Gandhi seemed more concerned about appeasing Muslims at all costs, Jawaharlal Nehru was impatient to become India's first prime minister. Other independent-thinking Congress leaders were under Gandhi's thrall and could not secure the country's interests. Foreign interests, threatened by the prospect of a dominant non-white nation on the global stage, exacerbated internal divisions by stoking regional conflicts and dissent. Regional power centers grew stronger, buoyed by external support, and the public's preoccupation with political freebies led to the rise of corrupt politicians who pandered to narrow interests rather than the greater good. The reservation system, initially intended to uplift marginalized communities, became an ever-expanding burden that encouraged mediocrity at the cost of skill development and stifled creativity and economic progress. Once a source of strength, diversity became a divisive force due to foreign intervention. The influx of Christian missionaries went unchecked, further eroding the country's social fabric. The increasing frequency and severity of flash riots, predominantly led by Muslims, further destabilized law and order. As regions began seceding from the central authority, the power balance shifted irrevocably from a unified India to a collection of autonomous states. The decline in native skills and worsening law and order situations led to the flight of capital and economic collapse. This disintegration was followed by civil war, reminiscent of the violence during the India-Pakistan partition, leading to massive displacement and the emergence of new, fragmented nations. To be sure, the country could have avoided taking this disastrous path. In the early 21st century, there was a 15 to 20-year period during which a strong pro-development government led the country. This administration achieved significant progress, advancing both domestically and internationally. However, the lack of enduring support from the Hindu majority gradually eroded the government's influence. As power shifted to corrupt and inept politicians, often backed by foreign interests, the nation began unraveling in every imaginable way. Balkanization begins. As the country's foundations crumbled, its socio-political fabric began to fray. Frequent and severe riots by Muslim extremists destroyed law and order. Regions started breaking away one by one, as the balance of power shifted from the center to the provinces. Pakistan, China, and the West grabbed the opportunity to promptly assist the centripetal forces in breaking up the country. The flight of capital and economic destruction followed, fueled by rapidly deteriorating native skills and creativity, combined with a worsening law and order situation. Today, India is a mere shadow of its former self. The nation has been reduced to a patchwork of bickering states, each vying for control of dwindling resources and engaging in endless political games. What was once a civilization with immense potential has devolved into a fractured landscape with its future all but extinguished. The new autonomous countries that have emerged from the ashes of India are Islamic Federation of Hindustan. The Islamic Federation of Hindustan, situated in the western and northern parts of the subcontinent, represents an overwhelmingly Muslim state. Centered around Pakistan plus breakaway regions from Rajasthan, Delhi, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh, it is the largest country in the subcontinent, with a population of around 700 million people, 95% of whom are Muslims. This federation has faced severe challenges due to the constant internal strife and territorial disputes with neighboring states. Despite its significant natural resources, the economy is undermined by frequent riots and a lack of effective governance. The Christian and Hindu minorities in this region face persecution and discrimination, leading to a precarious existence in an otherwise turbulent environment. The Federation's defining aim is to unite the entire subcontinent under a caliphate called Mughalistan, a throwback to the Islamic Mughal Empire, which once ruled India. Republic of Hindustan. In what was once northern and central India, the Republic of Hindustan has emerged as the new successor state. Comprising mostly the Hindi heartland of Madhya Pradesh, parts of Rajasthan, eastern Uttar Pradesh, and eastern Maharashtra, it has become the last refuge of Hindus escaping the breakaway states on the fringe, where they are under constant fear of attacks. The rump country, with a population of around 350 million, has struggled to maintain a semblance of stability amidst ongoing regional conflicts. The dominant Hindu culture has fostered a degree of unity, but sectarian tensions and periodic violence by Muslim and Christian guerrilla groups funded by Pakistan, China, and the West remain a significant issue. The economy is a pale shadow of its former self, hindered by corruption and the remnants of the reservation system. A lack of skilled labor and infrastructural decay hinders the region's economic prospects. The Republic of Hindustan is constantly at odds with its Muslim-majority neighbors, both old and new. The Islamic Federation of Hindustan, now militarily at par with India's successor state, is emboldened to launch periodic military strikes to weaken the surviving Hindus further. Dravidian Confederation. In the south, the Dravidian Confederation has emerged from the remnants of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and parts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The people of this peninsular country, with a significant Christian and Muslim population, expected a relatively stable existence compared to its northern counterparts. But its constituents discovered that Dravidian ideology was not strong enough to unite the country. Tamils, Kannadigas, and Telugus are in a constant tug of war for the region's resources. The southern economy, which was on strong foundations in united India, is struggling with the legacy of the economic collapse and the impact of regional conflicts. Most of the once flourishing tech sector is in shambles due to the constant internecine warfare between the powerful caste factions and between the armed Muslim, Christian, and Hindu militia groups. While the Muslims of the Dravidian Confederation are loyal to the Islamic Republic of Hindustan to the north, the Christians have sent feelers to the west, in particular the United States, to intervene militarily on their behalf. Christian leaders are calling for an independent Christian Nadu along the eastern coast where American evangelical churches had started conversion activities after the 2004 tsunami. Eastern Coalition. The Eastern Coalition, encompassing West Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha, has seen a complex interplay of ethnic and religious groups. Swamped by millions of Muslim immigrants who poured across the border from Bangladesh, the region was the first to secede from India. The country faces persistent tensions exacerbated by territorial disputes and ethnic rivalries. Demographic jihad has led to the ethnic cleansing of Hindus and various tribal communities. The economy is in tatters, heavily reliant on foreign aid, and plagued by corruption. The situation for minorities is precarious, with periodic ethnic clashes disrupting any potential for cohesive development. Himalayan Republic. To the north, the Himalayan Republic covers parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. This mountainous region, predominantly Hindu with a significant Muslim minority, has been ravaged by territorial disputes and frequent insurgencies. The economy is fragile, based mainly on tourism and traditional industries. Cross-border skirmishes and internal unrest frequently disrupt the delicate balance between various ethnic and religious communities. Khalistan's birth was messy from the start. Since Sikhs constitute less than 60% of Punjab's population, they received approximately half of the state's territory. Consequently, Sikhs are now confined to a tiny landlocked Sikh theocracy where Talbian-style Sikh Maryada enforcers patrol the streets whipping men not sporting a beard or turban and assaulting women who forget to cover their heads. The division of Punjab has led to bitter disputes over sharing rivers, farmland, and canals, causing significant economic loss. Nearly all Hindus in the newly formed country have fled to the Republic of Hindustan, resulting in a backlash against Sikhs. Many Sikhs from the Hindu-majority country have been forced to move to Khalistan, creating a refugee crisis for the new Sikh nation. Most industries have relocated, resulting in widespread unemployment and economic hardship in Khalistan. With feeder dams now located in 3 different countries, water insecurity has decreased agricultural productivity. With Hindu laborers and skilled workers no longer finding it safe to travel to this country, Khalistan has become a basket case. Worse, Sikhs find themselves squeezed between 2 nuclear-armed neighbors. The new country struggles to survive as it faces territorial aggression from the Islamic Federation, which wants to incorporate it into its Punjab province. The new Khalistan is thus forced to spend most of its revenues on the military to guard its borders. Due to the chaotic situation, few consulates and embassies have been set up, which means Sikhs have very limited options for migrating overseas. Islamic Republic of Kashmir. Kashmir, now a nearly 100% Muslim province, has opportunistically grabbed the Hindu-majority Jammu area and the Buddhist Union territory of Ladakh. Most Hindus and Buddhists in these regions have escaped to the Republic of Hindustan. The remaining minority communities in Greater Kashmir are facing an uncertain future, living in constant fear of persecution. With Indian subsidies, which once amounted to several $billion annually, dried up, the economy of this new country is in shambles, with little hope of recovery in sight. Tourism, once the mainstay, has reduced to a trickle. The Kashmir government, which now controls several critical dams, resorts to blackmailing downstream countries like Khalistan with floods to garner ransoms. Coastal Union. The Coastal Union, comprising the western coastal states, including Gujarat, Goa, and parts of Maharashtra, is an economically diverse region focused on trade and industry. The region has a slim Hindu majority, with significant Muslim and Christian minorities pulling the country toward chaos. While the Coastal Union benefits from its strategic location and economic resources, it faces internal political instability and ongoing regional disputes that hinder long-term development. Islamic State of Malabar. In Kerala, the local Muslims have established a new state named the Islamic State of Malabar by carving out areas from districts in North Kerala, Kasaragod, Kannur, Wayanad, Kozhikode, and Malappuram where Muslims are present in substantial numbers. Kozhikode, the former capital of the Hindu Samudri kings, is the capital of Malabar. It is a Sharia state which practices a particularly strident form of Sunni Islam. The minority Hindus and Christians have fled to neighboring Karnataka and Tamil Nadu or have converted to Islam. The famous temples of Kerala have been stripped of their immense wealth, and their properties transferred to the Waqf board. The Northeast. While the Islamic Republic of Greater Bangladesh has annexed Assam and Tripura, China has merged Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim into Tibet. Meanwhile, the other 4 states have declared independence with support from the United States and the West. Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, and Meghalaya have become Christian theocracies and have expelled their Hindu, Muslim, and tribal minorities. The U.S. has established military bases in these states, which have become American protectorates. Cautionary tale. During the prelude to the breakup, India's liberals in cahoots with the jihadi, missionary, and Marxist forces dismissed the threat of balkanization as a conspiracy theory of Indian nationalists. However, as events have proved, the threat was as real as daylight. They say those who forget history are condemned to repeating it. Due to their collective amnesia, the Hindu majority failed to see the threat posed by the panchmakars, mullahs, missionaries, Marxists, Makalaputras, and the media. Dussehra was celebrated annually in Balochistan until 1930, and Mahashivaratri was a ubiquitous festival in Karachi until 1947. However, today their Hindu past has all but been obliterated. Any region where Hindus become a minority is forever hostile to Hinduism. As the author Rajiv Malhotra wrote in Breaking India, India is the prime target of a huge enterprise, a network of organizations, individuals, and churches that seems intensely devoted to the task of creating a separatist identity, history, and even religion for the vulnerable sections of India. This nexus of players includes church groups, government bodies, related organizations, private think tanks, and academics. Their resolutions, position papers, and strategies are well articulated, and beneath the veneer of helping the downtrodden, There seemed to be objectives that would be inimical to India's unity and sovereignty. As well as the Islamic and evangelistic forces, the Chinese, too, played a devious role in India's breakup. According to a quasi-official Chinese website, the Great Indian Federation is ripe for dismemberment if Beijing tries just a little. Posted on the International Institute for Strategic Studies website, IISS.cn, the article details a roadmap for breaking up India. To split India, China can bring into its fold countries like Pakistan, Nepal, and Bhutan, support ULFA in attaining its goal for Assam's independence, back aspirations of Indian nationalities like Tamils and Nagas, encourage Bangladesh to give a push to the independence of West Bengal, and lastly recover the 90,000 square kilometers territory in southern Tibet. The Chinese position was that India as a nation never really existed in history. It was held together by decadent Hinduism, which encouraged caste and exploitation. The balkanization of India serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of ignoring the warning signs of social and political instability. It is a cautionary tale of what can happen when a nation fails to address its internal divisions and succumbs to the machinations of foreign powers.